Good afternoon and welcome. We will go right into our first question.
The first question is from Connie. Many thanks for this. I would welcome your help on number 2 son's dip into street drugs and husband's burning lower legs and insomnia and my efforts to be present and useful with it all. I'm a bit overwhelmed.
You're in another one of those situations where you're going to have to take care of number 1 first. You can't be much help at all if you're depleted. You really can't be an agent for change if you're overwhelmed. And so, in your mind, you're going to have to back off. Release your son to the Holy Spirit. Turn him over to God in your mind. And let go of this present sense of personal responsibility for his welfare. And the same with your husband at the moment. At the bottom line, in all cases, each one is entirely responsible for his experience of his well-being or his experience of poor being. All you can do when you're not exhausted, when you're not overwhelmed, is to be a presence that facilitates your son's and your husband's capacity to change their minds. To take responsibility for what they're doing. And if they're not comfortable with it, to change what they're doing. Whether it's their attitude or whether it's their behavior or whether it's their associations. Of course you're overwhelmed because you're trying to be personally responsible. You're trying to take on the load. But as I've said before, you cannot reach the switch that is in their mind. Only they can reach the switch and switch it, choosing for or deciding for a new way to be, a new way to think. It's not your responsibility to change them. And it's not your responsibility to change them because you cannot. I cannot change you. I cannot change them. But the moment any of you are ready to change and desire to change, I can guide you, any of you. But you have to take the steps, and you have to switch the switch. You'll walk back into the kingdom of heaven on purpose. You will move back into your right mind on purpose by virtue of a choice you make. And that's the only way. You're in it now, all of you. You are at home right now. But you don't believe it, or you don't want to believe it. Or you want to ignore it because you have some preference as regards what you want. They have they have preferences, your husband and your son, and they're choosing for their preference. I know they would say, well, I'm not choosing to have these physical symptoms, and your son would say, I'm not choosing to see my experience as being as detrimental as you're seeing it. The fact that you are bothered by it is a result of your own mindsets. It's a result of your own opinion. Because he doesn't want to see the truth and change the behavior that is causing him to have a much more limited experience than it's his birthright to be having. I know you say, well, I can't just let them suffer. But I'm going to ask you, can you stop them from suffering? No. Not as long as they're choosing for it. If there is suffering, there is conflict going on. And if there is conflict going on, it's because peace is not being chosen for. The conflict is being validated. The attention is being given to the conflict. Paying attention to the experience of the conflict is what your husband is choosing to give his attention to. He is not choosing to do whatever it takes to unconflict his mind, which he could very simply do by meditating. Now, you're going to have to give the responsibility back to them. And what that really means is you're going to have to stop foolishly thinking that you have the capacity to be responsible for them. And you get some rest. And when you begin to be concerned and engage in a conflicted mind yourself, notice that that's what you're doing. Notice that you are choosing to experience conflict, to give your attention willingly to it, to not object to this activity of your very own mind, and not choosing to do something else instead. You see, they're not making you do that. You are choosing to do it. For whatever reason, you have a justification. You're his wife. You're his mother. It's your business to care for them. You have what's called mother's love. And all mothers are stuck with it. Or all mothers are blessed by it, depending on whether things are going smoothly or roughly. That's your justification. Well, if you're really a mother, if you're really a parent, if you're really the guide, then you will guide them to their own self-responsibility, and you will neglect to confuse matters by implying to them that you want to be responsible and that you will do everything you can to take the responsibility away from them and handle it yourself, you see. It's not your job. That is not your job, to be responsible for them. So, you do whatever it takes to find your peace. Meditate yourself. Now, don't meditate so that you'll get into that place of peace and therefore be able to be more effectively responsible for them because you're not upset. You see, that's a tricky ploy of the ego. Yes, I will find my peace and experience strengthening so that I will then be able to more effectively take responsibility for them. No. Find your peace in spite of what is going on. And in finding it, have the demonstration within yourself of the fact that no matter what's going on, you or anyone can find their peace by making the choice for it rather than the conflict, the invigoration of the tension, you see. And point them in the direction of their finding their equilibrium so they're not attracted to that which is debilitating to them. Because in one way or another, they are both attracted to something that's debilitating to them. You truly want to be able to do that which will set them free. And what will set them free is your demonstrating for them, you might say, that your peace is available to you no matter what, and therefore so is theirs. And so you point them in the direction of that. And that's something you cannot do for them. Be the example, realizing that the example will teach them how to be the example. You see? Okay.
The next question is from Helen. Good evening, Raj. Thank you for being with us tonight. A while ago, I connected with someone whose name is John. Things seem to have gone wrong, and now there is lots of silence. I feel it is not over, but don't know what to do. Could you please advise?
The best advice I can give you is to bring in your tentative tentacles. Let it be what it is. And don't be hovering in anticipation of anything. Let the silence be there. And then, really, give full attention to what is on your plate, to what is in your presence. Embrace by not reaching for, but making room for. You're experiencing a loss of peace because you're trying to do something inappropriate. Again, bring back your tentative tentacles. Let your attention be on whatever is in your presence. And give it to what is in your presence fully. Because what is in your presence is God, is the ultimate. Be present with it with the curiosity to experience more of its fullness and be at peace. Don't create a problem where there is none. Okay.
The next question is from Ron. Should I stay in the Mankind Project?
Absolutely. It's exactly where you belong. It is exactly where you're needed. You need to not be tentative about it. You need to not be tentative about leaving or tentative about staying. Make commitment to it and bring your best to it. And stay because there is something yet for you to contribute that is essential. And you don't want to prematurely move before what you need to give has been given. You're just exactly where you need to be and where you're needed. Even if behaviors around you seem to indicate something contrary to what I've just said, don't believe it and don't act on it. Many times, where you are most needed is where you are least wanted. Okay. You have my support and encouragement.
The next question is from Nancy. Raj, are you my guide? Who is Standing Bear? And who is Metatron?
Yes, I am your guide. And you are going to have to ask the others who they are directly. You are going to have to be willing to lean into an intimacy with them that allows them to respond to your desire to know, which I encourage you to do with curiosity and great interest. Okay.
The next question is from George. Should I stay with the job I have or take the position being offered me at a large government hospital?
If you want to enjoy life, if you want to have an obvious experience of fulfillment, stay right where you are and do not take the alternative. I cannot make it any clearer than that. Okay.
The next question is from Linda. Am I in alignment with God's will in the direction I'm going with my art career, working with young offenders? Am I hearing guidance correctly? Just need some reassurance. I am not being willful.
You're right on target. And you are hearing your guidance accurately. I will say this, but because it's something you have a natural attraction to, a natural feeling for, you are going to need to continue to listen and give preference to the guidance so that your pre-existing feelings do not begin to guide your steps. Ask frequently, inquire often of your guidance as to whether you're on track, or is there anything you could be doing that would be more meaningful and more to the point than what you're currently doing? What more is there for you to be aware of than that which you already have an affinity for, that you already know about, you see? I could say this will keep you on your toes, and it will keep the work you are doing fresh and pertinent to those you're working with. Okay.
The next question is from Paul. Hello, Raj. I hope I can find the words to make the question clear, as I'm not clear about whatever is going on. I've had times where I feel like I'm dying. Also, I seem to have times where I feel like I want to die. This is not a suicidal feeling, just something that is present. I am aware of both as distinct feelings. I am often tempted to believe that my body is seriously sick with cancer. I know this stuff is all bottom line BS, but sometimes I really get caught up in it. It comes and goes. Can you put perspective on this for me, that I may move past or through this in the optimum way? Thank you.
Well, first of all, let's tackle this idea of being done. Oh, you will never be done being. You will never be done being the expression of God. God will never be done expressing himself right there where you are, appearing to be you. So a feeling of being done is a purely imaginary concoction of what I'm going to call an irrational mind. Not your mind and not the mind of God. you will never be done. You will never arrive at a conclusion. That's not what being is. Being is a verb. It is a verb describing life. It is a verb describing the specific conscious experience of life. And that will never be over. And it will never be done in the sense of having arrived at a conclusion. If there's any conclusion that any of you will ever arrive at, it will be a matter of arriving at a complete willingness to flow with the movement of life, a complete yielding to the movement of being, where you do not resist wherever the movement takes you, whatever the movement is bringing into manifestation. You will always be the presence of mind that with which creation is registering. It will never be over. And even if you say, yes, I think I really am done here. And it's time for me to let it go of this mortal veil. It's all this fancy bullshit. And you appear to die. You'll find that you aren't done at all, and that you are still at the same thresholds of discovery that you were before you apparently died. So don't play into this idea of being done. Being is an eternal newness. Eternal. Uninterruptible and unending. So when this feeling comes, when this emotion comes, when this idea presents itself that maybe I'm done, peg it right away. Recognize it to be bullshit. Call it for what it is and kick it out. Dismiss it. You have the authority to dismiss anything. After all, you, along with everyone else, has dismissed God temporarily and said, I'm just a material organism. I'm on my own. I'm here, created by God, to learn how to practice all the skills that God has placed in me, you see. But I'm not the presence of God. God is not presencing himself right here where I am and being all there is to me. No, that's not what's happened, you see. So you've dismissed God. And you can dismiss him pretty well. You can manage to feel pretty ignorant of God and of your inseparability from him. So, I say that just so that you might recognize the power of your mind. Now, you can, because of your omnipotence, dismiss an idea that presents itself to you that you're done. And you can dismiss the idea that your body is ridden with cancer and you will die.